Join the conversation with the Morning Majlis, Pulse 95.
Last night, the UAE landmarks, they all lit up with the colors of the Indian flag. That is in full solidarity with India as the country sadly is grappling with a growing COVID-19 crisis and increasing numbers of fatalities due to the shortage in oxygen and also the new variant that has been spreading across the country. Now, with life-saving oxygen in short supply, families are left on their own to ferry people sick with COVID-19 from hospital to hospital in search of treatment as India is engulfed in this devastating surge of infections. And sadly, too often, their efforts, well, they definitely end in mourning. And we even saw on social media and in television footage, desperate relatives, they plead for oxygen outside hospitals or weep in the street for loved ones who died waiting for treatment. Now, for the fourth straight day, India yesterday set a global daily record of new coronavirus infections, spurred by the new variant that emerged there. And the surge has definitely undermined the government's premature claims of victory over the pandemic. So there were about almost 350,000 new infections that brought India's total to more than 16.9 million COVID cases altogether, behind only the United States. So the health ministry also reported another 2,767 deaths in the past 24 hours. That is pushing India's fatalities to over 192,000.
Yeah, the recent figures have just come in fact, once again, 352,000 this time, 352,991 new cases in India, a highest single-day spike again, another global record for a rise in daily coronavirus cases, and this time it's for the fifth straight day, while deaths from COVID-19 also jumped by an all-time high over the last 24 hours. The caseload has now crossed 17 million in India, and the death toll so far is now 195,123. Over the last 24 hours, 2,812 deaths were reported. And we've seen footages of mass funerals in crematoriums as well, which is very, very worrying in terms of what's been going on. But what's happening in the second wave is the mortality rate has increased quite a lot. And what we're also seeing is there is, according to the Indian Express article, they're quoting experts saying that 80 to 85% of the population are asymptomatic. And this is one of the reasons why they continue to be a very, very large carrier of the virus. But at the moment, the oxygen supply is something that is worrying.
Definitely, for sure. Saudi Arabia actually yesterday shipped 80 metric tons of oxygen to India to alleviate this acute shortages of the life-saving gas due to the record surge in their infections. And also with several states flagging scarcity of those medical oxygen supplies amid the surge. The government in India is in talks for the import of high-capacity oxygen-carrying tankers from Singapore and the UAE as well, and directed states to revive closed oxygen plants for augmenting its production and helping India cope with this crisis.
Yeah, and in order to smoothen the conduct of international trade with India, the Ministry of Commerce and Industries Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade has set up a control room to monitor and resolve the problems. The control room is already fully functional, according to the statement, and exporters in the UAE and those importing from India or entities sending essential goods to India may reach the control rooms directly. It will monitor the difficulties being faced by various stakeholders due to the current restrictions imposed by various states and union territories in view of the surge of COVID-19 cases. But the UAE affirmed its solidarity with India, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation expressed its condolences to the government and people of India over the coronavirus deaths and wished a speedy recovery to the ill. The ministry also emphasized the deep strength of the strategic relations between both the countries, which are based on mutual respect, understanding, collaboration and common interests as well. So once again, just a bit of a reminder in terms of what's happening. The recent figures are in once again. India has reported 352,991 new cases, another highest single-day spike, a global record for a rise in daily coronavirus cases for the 5th straight day. Worrying times indeed, but we'll certainly keep you posted about that. Looking at the program on the Morning Majlis, what we're going to be doing is from one crisis to another tragic incident that took place much closer to the shores of the UAE, and it is in Iraq. And we'll talk to you about how that has happened and what's been going on over there. But do stay tuned to Pulse 95 if you'd like to send us your thoughts and concerns, because a lot of you might have your loved ones still stuck in India, as you are all continuing the hopes that the flights will resume soon for them to bring you, for you to bring them back here. And we'll quickly move on now. We've got a bit of Post Malone up next, and then we shift our focus to Iraq. You're listening to the Morning Majlis only on Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
The Morning Majlis, talking the stories that are shaping headlines. This is Pulse 95.
Yes, this is Pulse 95. We'll come back onto the Morning Majlis, and we're talking about the latest developments from Iraq, because Iraq's cabinet suspended the health minister there after at least 82 people were killed and 110 injured when an oxygen tank exploded late on Saturday at a hospital treating COVID-19 patients on the outskirts of the capital of Baghdad. Now, the explosion, it caused a huge fire in the pulmonary intensive care unit on the second floor of the Ibn al-Khatib hospital in Jisr Diyala district, according to the head of the Iraqi civil defense. Now, Iraqi, they issued a statement. The director of Rosafa Health Department and the governor of Baghdad, they both issued a statement saying that Iraqi Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kadhimi suspended the Minister of Health for this incident. And the investigation, which is to be led by the Interior Minister and also carried out by senior officials, will identify and hold accountable those responsible for this incident. And the cabinet also ordered the investigation to be finalized within 5 days and the findings to be submitted back to it for review.
Yeah, I mean, you always think firing a minister, how's that going to solve the problem? Because
I don't know.
The underlying situation still exists,
Exactly.
isn't it? What we see...
It's because people are blaming the country's the government. They're blaming the system. They're blaming the government. So this is the first thing that they want to do. It's just for people to calm down a little bit. But I don't think that's a calming action.
Not really. I mean,
No.
yeah, you scapegoat and you find someone and say, okay,
Yeah.
we blame it on you. But the real system needs to sort of change, isn't it?
Definitely.
And the Parliament is set to meet today to discuss and investigate the incident. That's what we do know. Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kadhimi has announced a 3-day mourning for the victims and ordered an investigation into that explosion. Casualty numbers were still being assessed so far, and health officials said there are between 200 and 300 patients in the hospital. And videos and pictures of the scene showed hundreds of firefighters and residents of the area trying to put out the fire and rescue the patients. And Prime Minister's official Twitter account said he ordered the safety inspections to be conducted in all medical facilities within a week. And in terms of the international reaction, the United Nations has expressed shock and pain at the enormity of the tragic incident. The UN mission in Iraq also said Special Envoy Janine Hennis-Plasschaert offered her deepest condolences to the families of those who lost their lives and wished the injured a speedy recovery.
Definitely. And also they're saying a lot of people were saying that the hospital lacked basic safety mechanisms for such incidents, such as a sprinkler system. What hospital doesn't have a sprinkler system? So people are describing it as being chaotic and tragic because you couldn't see the person next to you due to the heavy smoke. And there were many charred bodies. Some they couldn't even remove as they stuck to the bed, sadly.
Yeah, and looking at the COVID-19 situation in the country, it's not the best as well.
No.
The country registered 6,967 new cases and 43 deaths, also taking the total number of infections to 1,025,288. The ministry said it had carried about 40,000 tests daily amongst a population of 40 million people. So that's what's happening at the moment. And we are just looking at the health infrastructure that was built during the 1970s and 80s. And they say that they're on the brink of collapse with an acute shortage of medical staff and equipment. So it looks like it might need a bit of a complete overhaul as well. Well, stay with us on the Morning Majlis. We are going to keep you posted about other big developments across the world for sure. And what we'll do now is let you enjoy some of the musical entertainment on offering here on Pulse 95. We'll lighten the mood a little bit with the quiz that we've got as well on the Morning Majlis. So let's do that. Stay with us. This is the Morning Majlis only on Pulse 95.
Join the conversation with the Morning Majlis. Pulse 95.
We're so excited because the 93rd Annual Academy Awards, the Oscars, they made history before the first award was even handed out. Now, let's talk about how it happened. The ceremony itself, it was a much more intimate experience for attendees and the audience at home. Due to travel restrictions, obviously, and the need for greater social distancing because of the ongoing pandemic, this year's show was spread out across several locations. Now, we saw that Union Station was used as the main set piece for the show, with attendees rotating in and out of the ceremony in order to limit the number of people gathered at one time. And the ceremony also was treated like a movie set. Nominees, they were permitted to remain maskless while on camera, but they had to put back on their masks when the camera stopped rolling. So that was kind of like the setting of the whole award show. It took place on April 25th in Los Angeles, California, one of the locations. That was at Union Station. But looking at the winners and how that played out. Now, obviously, after years of criticism for the lack of diversity in the award ceremonies that have been happening, this year's slate of nominees, they contained some notable firsts. Now, it was the first time an all-black producing team was nominated for Best Picture. It was the first time two actors of Asian descent received a nod for Best Actor, and the first year that two women were nominated for Best Director. So basically, when the winners were revealed, it definitely reflected this spirit of inclusion in it.
Definitely did, and it's such a proud moment for a lot of the
winners,
artists fraternity for having this. But the thing is, the golden statue that everyone wants to own or have. Great for everyone, right? Comes down, come with your suits, black carpet, and we saw Riz Ahmed as well doing a very nice gesture to his wife as well when he was walking down the red carpet. I think a scarf messed up a little bit, and then he fixed it, and it caught the camera's lenses. A lot of lenses captured that moment, and he said that I am her groom. You know, I have to make sure that she's looking good, and so that was quite cool. But you always have these little bit of laughs, and it's great. It's tweetable discussions, but people in mass numbers wake up and watch these things?
I don't feel like before, no.
No.
It's much less now.
Do you know what? For me,
nowadays it's much less.
It is because it's the ceremonies are so long.
Yeah.
You know, they're not just like, 30 minutes, hey, here's the winners. They prolong it.
Yeah.
and it just drags on for a while. If you've got nothing to do that day or this morning, then yes. But
that's why they bring comedians to host those shows mainly, just to keep you entertained because they know it's so long.
True.
Yeah. And people probably will lose interest. Kind of like you when you go to the cinema, you say, after 10 minutes if the show is not good, if the movie is not good, I start looking at my watch and I lose attention. So a lot of people are like that.
Exactly. That short attention spans.
Yeah.
But a couple of big names. Sir Anthony Hopkins has won the prize for the movie The Father, for his role in that.
That was such a good movie.
Yes, that was a crazy.
His acting was incredible, as it always is, to be honest, and so it's well deserved.
Yes, and he did beat Boseman as well, Chadwick Boseman, and we are also seeing he wasn't there at the ceremony to receive his prize. It was a no-show, but Nomadland was the big night because that slow-burning drama about a woman living in a van in the American West after the financial crash has won most of the awards. Big night for them.
Big night for them because Chloe Zhao took home the Best Directing trophy, becoming the second woman to claim this title. And her film, Nomadland, snagged the top prize for the night, the Best Picture, as you just said.
I haven't seen it.
Neither have I.
All these films that win the Oscars, they're always the ones.
You never see it.
Yeah, you're thinking, oh, great.
They're not the popular ones.
No. But no, it seems like a very cool story, to be honest. Especially, very standard talking about a very topical discussion because a lot of people do go through that, sadly, lose their jobs and have had to find different ways of keeping ends meet and also trying to survive and continue having a roof over their heads. Should that be a van? Why not? So that's what's happening. And
Netflix also won the night.
Oh.
It took home 7 trophies.
Wow.
In general, 2 for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, 2 for Mank, and then individual awards for Best Live Action Short, Best Animated Short, and Best Documentary Feature. Disney, on the other hand, had the second largest haul with 5 awards, including 3 wins for Nomadland and 2 for Soul.
Wow. Yeah. Look at that. Well, a bit of a tussle going on.
Right.
But yes, stay with us on the Morning Majlis. We've got the sports headlines coming up next. The Majlis shall return right after that. And the quiz question is still there. How many apples can you eat on an empty stomach? That's the riddle to answer for a chance to win 500 dirhams, which you can spend in the wherever your heart desires. Maybe buy more apples. You never know. Stay with us. This is the Morning Majlis, only on Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
The Morning Majlis. Talking the stories that are shaping headlines. This is Pulse 95.
Well, the world of English professional football will definitely unite for an unprecedented 4-day boycott of social media next weekend, and that is to protest at the continued abuse and racism aimed at players. So clubs in the English Premier League, English Football League, Women's Super League, and Women's Championship will switch off their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts in response to the ongoing and sustained discriminatory abuse of footballers and their despair over a lack of action from the tech companies. So basically, what they're saying is that the social media boycott, it will last from 3 p.m. on Friday, the 30th of this month, until 11:59 p.m. on Monday, the 3rd of May, covering a full fixture program in the men's and women's professional game at a vital stage of the season. And this follows a series of high-profile online racist attacks, including the targeting of the Liverpool players Trent Alexander-Arnold, Naby Keita, and Sadio Mane after the club's defeat to Real Madrid in early this month.
It's incredible, isn't it? Now, I understand where they're coming from, but it's also kind of strange. They're saying that this is all to protect their players and everyone from abuse, but it's understandable to an extent because players do get a lot of flack from their fans, whether it be on Twitter, the discussions being there, and and then the direct DMs that they receive on their Instagram as well. So this is all coming into light because there was a lot of people who said that enough was enough, and there's something needed to be taken. Then a stand needed to be taken against racism on social media. Liverpool said racist abuse on social media cannot be allowed to continue after Trent Alexander-Arnold, Naby Keita and Sadio Mane were targeted in April. A joint statement from England's football's governing bodies also said the boycott is a way to emphasise that social media companies must do more to eradicate online hate, highlighting the importance of educating people. Boycott action from football in isolation will, of course, not eradicate the scourge of online discriminatory abuse, but it will demonstrate that the game is willing to take voluntary and proactive steps in this continued fight. Now, Rani Saad, you've recently made your Instagram page public.
Kind of.
Did you get people responding and messaging in very rude manner? Shall we take them down? Beat them up?
Not rude.
Yes.
Yeah. But
tell them off. Be like, hey. So imagine like a person such as yourself is getting some messages, right?
Right.
I do get regular messages on my DMs. Not that I'm too famous or anything, but I do get some people appreciating the work that we do, which is really great.
Right. Yeah.
But footballers, they get thousands of messages from randomers, their fans, and to an extent that it affects them. They're human beings. Yes, they're footballers. Yes, they celebrate in an amazing way. Yes, they get paid millions of pounds or whatever. But they're human beings in the end, isn't it?
Right,
and
they are.
And I saw one of the interviews, I completely forgot which player it was, and he said that we should ask Instagram, Twitter, and all these social media platforms, because they benefit from the presence of these footballers on the pages, that they should scan everyone's identity. Give your passport or scan your identity card, then you can be allowed to set up an account. Because at the moment, anyone can set up an email and then set up an Instagram account, fake accounts, and then be abusive or be nasty.
Right.
But if you have the checks and balance in place, the social media companies can actually file certain cases against the individual who's been identified. So that is a good option, to be honest. But yeah, sadly. But yeah, wonderful to see how the community is coming together to take a stand. But one wonderful news that caught our attention yesterday when we were
that
planning,
we're getting rain.
Is it going to be true though?
I think so. Today we might get rain, and Wednesday and Thursday as well.
No way.
Yeah, tomorrow we won't get rain. I don't think so. But like today, I'm looking at the weather forecast right now.
Yes.
And they're saying that later on today, it's fair to partly cloudy over some areas and dusty at times. But there is chance of some clouds formation eastward by afternoon. It might be rainy, rather hot during daytime. Now, tomorrow there won't be a chance of rain. I don't think so. But on Wednesday and Thursday, there are also chances of rain.
Wow. Yeah, looking at the weather forecast as well. This is Google weather. Sometimes it does change. And it's got cloudy weather for tomorrow, day after, and Thursday as well. That could be great if we get some rain, because it really has been very hot lately.
Temperatures are expected to be in the mid-30s to low 40s on average. That's a lot.
Yeah. I do want a nice little road trip excursion when it's raining. It's always good to see that as well. But yeah, something to look forward to. It's not confirmed. Don't quote and say, oh, MorningMajlis said that there's going to rain, but it didn't rain. It's not our fault. We're just reporting what we came across.
Reporting the forecasts.
Yes, exactly.
That we read.
Yeah, the Storm AE also, the storm center of the country, has also pinpointed out that the wet weather is expected in the coming few days. So that's going to be great. And if it does happen, we'll definitely be over the moon.
And the cloud formation with the rain it's expected to form in the eastern region of the UAE in the afternoon today. So we're going to see how that's going to play out in the eastern region.
That's something we want.
Do text us in from the eastern region.
Yes, shout out to all of our listeners in Kalba and Khorfakan and Dibba Al Hisn. If you've seen or are aware of some kind of a weather change taking place, then do let us know on the text lines 4215. For the time being, Morning Majlis will be heading off. We'll be back again tomorrow morning.
Yes, we will be. And if you want to catch with our conversations, do log into SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, or Spotify for the audio conversations. And for the video conversation, you can type in Pulse 95 Radio on YouTube and just check out our playlist, the Morning Majlis playlist. Subscribe, share, and like. And thank you for joining us today. It was a pleasure speaking with all of you.
We'll be back again for sure. So do text us on 4215 to take part in that riddle question that we've got today. How many apples can you eat on an empty stomach? Text us 4215. You stand a chance to win 500 dirhams, courtesy of Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry, as well as Pulse 95 Radio. Until tomorrow, it's goodbye for now.
If you liked this episode of the Morning Majlis, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.